Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Our first story is a perfect example of why you should always trust your instincts when selling something online. Our OP is just trying to offload a barely used grill, but of course, the internet never makes anything easy. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Entitled Craigslist buyer tries to bully me, ends up leaving empty-handed and furious. So this story happened back in 2002, before Facebook Marketplace and smartphones. Selling stuff was done on Craigslist and via email. There were tons of time wasters and scammers back then. I'd bought a 2-burner Weber grill. I kept this thing on an enclosed porch and covered. I cleaned this thing after each use. I loved this grill. It was the first real big home purchase I did. I bought it for $300. After using it for 3 months, I wanted a bigger and hotter grill. We were hosting a few parties, and it was a bit of an inconvenience. I talked my wife into it, and she was okay with it, but I had to sell my old grill. Enter Craigslist. I listed it for $250, which I thought was fair. It was only 3 months old and was in mint shape from not being used outside, cleaned and covered after each use. The listing explained this and also said the price was firm, and also no checks, cash only. It needed to be picked up, no delivery. Cash needed to be in my hand before I handed over the grill. The ad got a ton of responses, lots of scammers and low bidders. I took the first 5 that didn't argue about the price and went first come, first served. I emailed them to let them all know and contacted the first buyer. We set a date for pickup. There were some red flags that in hindsight I should have gone to the next buyer. He complained about the distance and gas cost. He asked about getting the cover and grill tools tossed in and hinted that for $250 the grill should be mint, even though the ad had a ton of pictures showing it in mint condition. So he comes that day. We go up to my porch, which was on the second floor of my 2-family. He started to complain about the condition as soon as he saw it. The grill looked like it came out of the box after assembly. Then he started in on me tossing in some crap on my back porch as compensation. At this point, I had it. I told him the price was firm and it was for the grill only. He was wasting my time, and if he didn't want it, there were 4 other people waiting. He relented and agreed to the price. The haggling threw me off my game, and I forgot to ask for the cash. We carried the grill down and brought it over to his truck. I then remembered the cash. I asked for it before we put it on his truck. He told me, let's get it on the truck and then he'd pay me. Right there, I was like, hell no. I knew as soon as he got it up there, he was going to lowball me. We went back and forth for over 5 minutes. He insisted he'd pay as soon as it was in the truck. He started to get pushy and belligerent. At this point, I told him the deal was off. He told me that he was not leaving without the grill, and it was not worth the $250, and I'd be lucky to get what he was offering me. I walked into the house and got one of the printed emails from one of the buyers. I called him and asked if he wanted the grill. He said yes, but he didn't have a truck. I told him we could drop it off in mine. Meanwhile, the guy in the driveway is yelling up that the price was getting lower for the longer I made him wait. I came down, told him to F off, that another buyer was coming. This guy happened to live in the same town. He told me I was full of crap and kept badgering me about getting the grill up on the truck. Well, the guy showed up in about 10 minutes. That seemed to last forever. He looked at the grill and said deal and handed over the $250. Just out of spite, I threw in the cover. I did this in front of the original buyer, who went from belligerent to apologetic fairly quick. I told the new buyer what was going on, and he laughed at the guy, which sent him into a rage. He started screaming about his drive up, compensation, and a bunch of other bullcrap. Me and the new guy ignored him and loaded the grill on my truck. I told him to F off and leave, or I'd call the cops and have him trespassed. He left screaming all the way, calling me just about every name in the book. The new guy and I dropped the grill off at his house. His wife was happy at the deal and condition of the grill, and I got a Genesis 3-burner. Him going from this grill is trash to wait, let's talk the moment someone else snatched it up. That was karma at its finest. Next time, Craigslist buyer, bring cash first or watch someone else roll away with your deal. And our second story. Karen threatened me for asking her to stop trespassing. I live on a corner property, and while I love my home, there's one huge problem. A walking, talking, entitled nightmare of a neighbor who thinks my yard is her personal shortcut. Every single school day at exactly 2:45 p.m., she marches across my lawn on her way to pick up her kid, then cuts back through at 3 p.m. like clockwork. Now, if she was just stepping a little over the property line, maybe I could let it slide, but no, she walks so close to my house that she's practically inside it. I mean, within arm's reach of my living room windows. I wouldn't even be writing this if she was just cutting a corner by a few feet, but she's so damn close that we literally made awkward eye contact today through my window as she stared inside like she was checking out a house listing. It didn't take long to realize that this woman isn't just rude, she's a full-blown Karen. You know the type. The resting scowl, the permanent attitude, the way she struts around like the entire neighborhood was built just for her convenience. I've seen her arguing with delivery drivers, glaring at kids playing in their own yards, and even demanding a discount at a garage sale like she was at a damn department store. And now she's declared eminent domain over my property. I'll admit I hate confrontation, but after weeks of feeling like a fish in a bowl every time this woman practically pressed her face against my windows, I finally worked up the courage to say something. So today, when she made her usual unauthorized commute through my yard, I stepped outside and politely asked her to stop. Me. Hey, would you mind walking around the curb instead? Or using the sidewalk across the street? It's just that you're really close to my house and it makes us uncomfortable. Karen scoffs, rolls her eyes like I just asked her to donate a kidney. She keeps walking, completely ignoring me, so I repeat myself, trying to keep it civil. Me. I'm not trying to be rude, I'd just appreciate if you could respect the property lines. Karen snorts and waves her hand dismissively. I didn't touch any of your crap. Why are you tripping, boy? Oh, so now I'm the problem. Me. It's not about touching anything, it's about respecting people's property. This is my yard. Karen, mocking tone. Oh my God, it's just a shortcut, it's not that serious. At this point, I'm done with her attitude. Me. If you keep doing this, it's trespassing and I'll have to call the police. That's when she lost it. Karen, whipping around, face twisting in rage. Go ahead, I'll come beat your effing butt. She said this in front of her child. I just stood there stunned. She wasn't even embarrassed. She just stared me down, waiting to see if I'd flinch. At that moment, I knew she wasn't going to stop. The notes, the polite requests, even the threat of the police, none of it mattered to her. She was going to keep walking through my yard because she believed she had the right to. That night, my girlfriend and I talked about it, and she made it clear she didn't feel safe knowing that this unhinged woman was so close to our home daily, especially after the threats. So I did what any sane person would do. I built a fence. It wasn't even that tall, just enough to make it extremely inconvenient to shortcut through my yard. And oh boy, Karen lost her mind. I barely had the last panel secured before she was hovering at the edge of my property, hands on her hips, looking like a furious, overgrown toddler. Karen, oh, so this is how it is. You're seriously putting up a fence because of me? Me, deadpan. No, Karen, I just love the aesthetic of blocking out entitled people. Karen, gesturing wildly at the fence like she's presenting a court case. This is so petty. You know this is petty. Me. Petty would be calling the cops on you instead of spending my own money to solve the problem. Karen. You're an a-hole. I hope your ugly fence falls down. She stormed off, muttering about how she was going to report me to the HOA, which was hilarious because we don't even have an HOA. The fence has been up for a couple of weeks now, and Karen hasn't even set foot on my property since. She still glares at me every time we cross paths, but I just wave and smile. And every afternoon at 2:45 p.m., I watch her angrily stomp her way around my property, forced to use the sidewalk like a normal human being. My first thought was a fake snake coiled in the grass. If I were you, I'd put a bird feeder on the path. Most people would not walk in between something like a bird feeder and someone's property. But it does sound like this woman is built different. And our last story. Me and my HOA are in charge here. I bought a house in a great neighborhood, spacious yard, an excellent pool, and most importantly, no HOA. No one telling me what color my fence should be or whether I can grill on Sundays. But as it turned out, the area was home to people who had an opinion on everything. At first, it was just looks. Whenever I stepped out in shorts and sunglasses to swim in my pool, the old ladies on the street would start whispering. Fine, let them talk. But then the nightmare began. One evening, there was a frantic pounding on my door like someone was trying to break it down. I opened it to find 3 elderly neighbors led by the most venomous Karen of them all, the one who seemed to have been born to make people's lives miserable. "What is this?" Karen screeched, pointing toward my backyard. "We're in shock." "That's my pool. Any problems?" "Problems?" Another old woman jumped in. "This is a slap in the face to the neighborhood. Pools are unacceptable. This is an environmental catastrophe." "Wait a minute, this is my property and there's no HOA here." "Oh, so you think you can just do whatever you want? That's not how it works." Karen was already stomping her feet. "You're polluting the neighborhood, lowering property values, thinking only about yourself, you selfish brat." "Look, if you don't like my pool, don't look at it." "Have a good day." A week later, the harassment began. In my mailbox, I found an official notice from a non-existent HOA. "You must remove your pool immediately. Urgent." Then came anonymous complaints. Apparently my pool was attracting rats and mosquitoes. Someone even called the police claiming illegal activities were taking place there. The cop showed up, looked around, shrugged. Everything was fine. They left. But Karen wasn't giving up. She personally stormed over to my house 2 days later, launching into another tantrum. "When will you get it through your thick skull that you're not wanted here?" She was practically hopping with rage. "You need to get rid of that damn pool." "No." "How dare you? This is insolence. We won't stand for this. We'll tell everyone I shut the door in her face, listening to her screams continue outside. Realizing I wouldn't back down, Karen went all in. I was chilling by the pool, enjoying the sun, when I suddenly heard a scream. "I hate this pool!" I turned around and saw Karen, her face twisted in rage, winding up her arm, throwing something brown and soft at me. "Take that! This is your punishment! You won't swim peacefully anymore! Get rid of your disgusting lake!" I looked down in horror. It was dog poop. "Are you insane? You're the crazy one, not me! We all hate you! Get out of here!" I silently turned and walked inside. Karen laughed triumphantly, thinking she'd won, but I hadn't given up. I installed cameras all around my yard, recorded every incident, every police visit, and especially the poop attack. Then I took it all to court. A couple of weeks later, the hearing took place. I presented my evidence, videos, police reports, the fake notices from a non-existent HOA. The judge reviewed the recordings for a long time, then looked at Karen. "Is it true you repeatedly called the police without reason?" Karen turned red. Well, I was shocked. That pool's a nightmare. I couldn't sleep. It was just... "And is this you throwing," the judge grimaced, "dog feces at him?" Karen fumed. "It was a metaphor. He deserved it. He drove us all crazy." "This is harassment and illegal dumping on private property. The court orders you to pay fines for false police reports and littering." Karen let out an ultrasonic screech. "No! This is unfair! This is a conspiracy! He's ruining my life! I won't! I refuse! I object!" In the end, Karen got 3 months of community service and had to compensate me for my legal fees. Her HOA buddies disappeared, and that was the end of it. Me, I'm still enjoying my pool. Sometimes as a bonus, I sip a cocktail while looking over at Karen's house. A sweet reminder that justice does exist. Karen's hysterical behavior is clearly broken through all levels. We need more powerful devices to measure it. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.